A bipartisan group of senators introduced a bill to prevent the export of advanced NVIDIA chips to China. Joining us to discuss is Rex Lee, cybersecurity advisor at My Smart Privacy and tech journalist. So, Rex, always great to talk to you. Thank you for joining us today. Can I just ask you, the bill blocks export licenses for at least 30 months. How meaningful is a 2.5-year block to counter China's AI advancement?
Well, it may be already a little too late. The Secure and Feasible Export Act, or Safe Chips Act of 2025, it looks great on paper. However, NVIDIA has been selling chips into China for several years now. One of the most concerning things about this case that maybe the Senate needs to investigate further is Threads, which is a chip manufacturer headquartered in Beijing. It was founded by former NVIDIA executive James Zhang, possibly a dual citizen of the U.S. and China. But my fear is that these chips may have already been reverse engineered in China, because Beijing has already, or China has already banned the sale of certain NVIDIA chips into China already. One example is they forbid ByteDance from using NVIDIA's GPUs in their new data centers in favor of Chinese GPUs.
So Rex, then what do you propose we do? If China's already getting these chips, how do we make sure the U.S. maintains its lead?
Well, there's several factors. It goes beyond the NVIDIA chips in the AI race. You have to consider the fact that all AI-infused apps and platforms such as DeepSeek AI or Alibaba Quinn AI, both developed in China, the AI that is used to develop those apps and platforms is basically US IP that has been shared with them by Google, Apple, and Microsoft. So all of these AI developers in China have to develop in either Android, iOS, which is Apple, or Microsoft Windows to have their AI infused apps and platforms such as TikTok or Tencent's WeChat or Alibaba Quinn or DeepSeek AI. To have those distributed globally, they have to have AI intellectual property shared with them by United States tech giants. So they're all intertwined. NVIDIA's GPU is what advances AI and can advance AI to generative AI and AGI and super AI in the future. Yet all of these companies and AI developers in China are dependent on US IP to have their AI platforms distributed globally. So what the Senate needs to do is also look at how China's AI-infused apps and platforms are distributed and developed. They have to be developed in Android, iOS, or Windows to be distributed. So that means that Google, Apple, and Microsoft have to share what's known as their software developer kits, or their SDKs and their APIs, with these Chinese developers to have their products developed. Also, these U.S. tech giants are also making profits from the distribution of these AI platforms in China. So aside from sharing their IP with them, they're making money on the distribution of these AI platforms as well.
Okay, Rex, what do you think plays a bigger role here? NVIDIA's AI chips or these SDKs that Google, Microsoft, and Android are giving to China?
Well, they're interconnected. The AI-infused apps developed in Android, iOS, or Windows, whether they're developed in the US, Spain, or China, or Europe, all have to be powered to be distributed, and that takes GPUs that can give them the power necessary to provide the AI apps and platforms that these services operate on. So they're all intertwined. One can't work without the other. One can't be distributed or developed without the other. So they're intertwined together. So if we look at our race with AI and China, we have to consider how we do business with China as a whole. If you're going to prevent NVIDIA chips from being sold in China, then you also need to include that Google, Apple, and Microsoft have to be banned from developing and distributing these AI-infused apps and platforms from China. In other words, Google, Apple, and Microsoft have to be also banned from sharing their SDKs for their operating systems and their apps and platforms that they share with these Chinese developers so that they can have them distributed through Google Play, Apple App Store, and Microsoft Windows App Store.
Okay, Rex, I also wanted to ask you, what are some of the applications that China is using for AI?
Well, again, all you have to do is look at DeepSeek AI. You have to look at Alibaba Quinn. You have to look at the fact that all apps and platforms, whether it's TikTok, Shin, Temu, or WeChat, or any of these other apps and platforms coming out of China, they're all being infused with AI today. They're all being upgraded with AI chatbots. And they're being distributed through Google, Apple, and Microsoft globally, not just in the United States or China. They're being distributed globally. So we have to look at, there's another factor involved here, and that's the ByteDance acquisition, Oracle ByteDance acquisition. That's tied to a bill that has been kicked down the can. I mean, a bill that's been put on the back burner by the Trump administration regarding the sale of intrusive apps and platforms from China in the United States.
Can China use its AI abilities in the military sector as well? What happens if China's AI ability surpasses the U.S.?
Well, they're using American AI in Chinese military fusion program. So when the United States sells their apps and platforms in China, China has a military, a civilian military infusion program where they take that IP of all the technology that's being sold into their country. They can militarize that and weaponize that technology as well.
Okay, just final question. What happens if China supersedes the U.S. In its AI abilities?
Well, you know, there's a couple of things on the horizon that they need to look at. Huawei has already developed Ascend Series 901B and 910C AI chips, as well as Barin, and then more threads, again, founded by former NVIDIA executive James Zhang, and Cambricorn is another Chinese AI developer. So you have all of this AI technology in China being developed. The only thing that separates them right now are the new chips that have not been released by NVIDIA, as well as the ability to mass produce these chips at the same rate that NVIDIA can. That's the only thing that's separating them, which is why ByteDance, they don't need NVIDIA's chips, but that's just one company. But the chips that they're buying in China, they still cannot be mass produced the way the chips are in the United States. So I think this bill needs to go much further and also include how Chinese AI-infused apps and platforms are developed. And they need to also enforce the Protecting Americans from Adversarial Controlled Applications Act. It's not the TikTok ban. It's Protecting Americans from Adversarial Controlled Apps Act, which is the law of the land that includes all intrusive AI-infused apps and platforms from China.
Well, okay, Rex, it's always great to speak with you. And by the way, that's a cool background.
Thank you.